Everyone thought my uncle was a hero. The man who stepped up after my father died, who kept the family together, who ran the farm with discipline and pride. But they never saw what happened when the gates closed. My name is Rachel Hensley, and I spent most of my childhood on a 100-acre farm in Montana that was less like home and more like a sentence. My father, Thomas, passed away when I was 11 in what everyone called a tragic hunting accident, but what I always suspected was something darker. My uncle David took over the property within a week, citing shared ownership, paperwork my mother didn't remember signing. She was grieving, broke, and terrified, and he offered to take care of everything. What he really did was slowly erase us. He made my mother feel like a guest in her own home, gave me chores that kept me from school, and told everyone in town we were lucky to have a roof over our heads. When my mom finally got sick, breast cancer, stage 3, he refused to help with her treatment. Said there was no extra money. She died 2 years later, and by then I was 17. No diploma. No bank account. No plan. On the night after her funeral, Uncle David told me, "You've got 2 choices, work for your keep or leave." I left. I spent the next 10 years working construction jobs, waitressing, even cleaning motels. Saved every penny. Taught myself real estate law at night using secondhand books and online courses. By 28, I had my GED, a paralegal certification, and a plan. My revenge wouldn't be loud. It would be legal. I started by reconnecting with Mrs. Calloway, the local registrar who had processed land deeds for decades. I posed as a researcher studying rural property disputes. Over a few lunches, she showed me public files from the year my father died. What I found stunned me. The paperwork that transferred co-ownership of the farm to Uncle David had been signed 2 days after my father's death. But my father's signature was dated 3 weeks prior. I dug deeper. The ink used on the signature wasn't consistent with the rest of the document. It had been added later. A forgery. I quietly requested a certified forensic review and then drove 3 hours to a courthouse in Bozeman to file a motion to reopen my father's estate based on potential fraud. Next, I contacted a private investigator, asking him to look into the hunting accident that killed my father. He found old sheriff's notes buried in an archive statements that didn't align. David had said they were hunting alone. But a neighbor reported hearing 2 men shouting earlier that morning, and one of them wasn't my dad. The theory was never pursued. The case had been closed too quickly. With all this, I returned to the county judge and requested an injunction on the farm's operations. My uncle was served papers the same day. He signed a deal to sell a large portion of the land to a corporate rancher. The deal was frozen. Furious, he tried to contact me, but I didn't answer. Instead, I released a series of letters to local newspapers detailing the findings. I didn't name him outright. I didn't have to. The town turned fast. People remembered how quickly he had moved into my father's office, how he told conflicting stories, how my mother had withdrawn before her death. When the case went to court, the forensic report confirmed that my father's signature had been added after his death. My uncle's defense crumbled. The judge ruled in my favor. The co-ownership document was invalid. Because my father had died intestate, the entire farm reverted to me as his sole heir. David was ordered to vacate the property within 30 days. I returned with a locksmith and changed every lock. I kept only 2 things, my father's hunting journal and the yellowed map he used to plan his crop cycles. I turned the house into a safe space for foster teens aging out of the system, kids like me who had nowhere to go. Uncle David? Last I heard, he was living in a trailer outside Billings, trying to sue the county for emotional damages. He won't win. Because I didn't just take back the land, I took back the story. If you believe some inheritances are stolen in silence, but reclaimed in truth, hit like and subscribe. We tell real feeling revenge stories every day, where justice isn't always loud, but it's always earned.